Skyblock is one of Hypixel's various different minigames, although despite it looking pretty much the same to all the other games, it's far more complex than what it seems. You see, Hypixel Skyblock is your average Skyblock game, but not your average Skyblock game. Let me explain. So Hypixel Skyblock can be broken down into a lot of things. There is of course your own island where you can build, collect, and store your resources. There are public islands where you can farm, mine, forage, and fight different enemies. But there's also skills, and collections, and pets, and slayers, and so much more. And this is why I'm making this video. Hypixel Skyblock is very complicated, and for a newer player can be quite daunting. So, I'll be doing my very best to break down all the key fundamental components of the mode into an all-in-one video just for you. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so as you can see, we are spawning in here right at the hub island where all the things happen here on Skyblock. This is going to be the main central island where you will be exploring, finding new things, discovering a lot of stuff, and also possibly gearing yourself up, and also talking to the NPCs, purchasing things, and all the work. So we're not going to be going into too much in today's video, just sort of the fundamentals, the very core basic mechanics of Skyblock in general, but I'm not going to go into any super nitty-gritty details. I'll be sort of skimming through a lot of things. So just to start things off, I'm going to head over to the map here. As you can see, we have a huge hub island here, and you can see we are located right there. There's the mountain, other places, along with all the other islands that surround the hub island as well. Like I said, we're not going to go into detail on those islands today, but we might be able to do that in a future video or maybe some other time. What I did want to talk about, however, is the use of skills. So as you can see here in my 9th slot, I do have the Skyblock menu. Now keep in mind, I am using a texture pack, so yours will probably be a Nether Star if you don't have a texture pack already installed for the game. But if we open this up right here, opening up with a right click, you can see over here there's a your skills button on the left hand side of your screen. You click on that, you get greeted with this menu that has 10 different skills which you can level up and grind to get higher and higher in at the time of me recording this video. So you can see we've got the farming, the mining, the combat, foraging, fishing, etc, all kinds of different skills that you can currently level up in the game. Now you may be asking, why is this important? How do skills influence Hypixel Skyblock at all? Well, let's take combat for example. You can see here, I'm currently combat 28 and only 5% of the way through it until combat 29. So if I click on here, it shows you this huge progression chain that I've had to go on through in order to be able to level up my combat skill and get more and more perks. So I'm currently right over here up to combat 28, and all the rest of this path of progression is locked because I haven't currently unlocked it. But as you can see, at combat level 28, I deal 112% more damage to mobs, I get plus 1% crit chance, and I also got 5,000 coins upon unlocking combat 28. So this is actually really helpful because it boosts your player's stats. So as you can see, having more damage to mobs can be very helpful when fighting things or when grinding for certain items, because if you're needing to take out bosses and do a whole bunch of other things like that, you'll be able to handle them a lot better. And also getting that extra 1% crit chance per level up is also really good for dealing more damage and can come in very handy whilst playing Hypixel Skyblock. And this goes for every skill in the game. Every single skill comes with some kind of stat buff like health, defense, mana, etc, and some other cool perks like the farming one gives you double crops depending on how high your farming level is. So in a nutshell, that's how skills work. There's a little bit more to it, but I won't be covering it in this video. So with that being said, let's move on to the next part of Skyblock, which is going to be your collections. So back here in the Skyblock menu, there are a couple other things that are going around here, but what I want to focus on right now is the collections. So if we come over here to the second slot here, click on collections, and then you can see we've got the farming, mining, combat, foraging, and fishing collection. Now you may be able to notice that there's actually a lot less collections than there is skills, and that's just because there aren't really any collections for alchemy or for other skills of the sorts, which does make sense because you can't really collect runes as such or get any progression for rune collecting, as that is another skill, rune crafting. But once again, let's take the combat collection for an example. If we click on this, we'll be greeted with some more items. So we've got magma cream, we've got blaze rods, slime balls, rotten flesh, and all other mob drops that you can currently get in the game. So if we take rotten flesh for an example and I click on this, you'll be able to see another chain of progression. So obviously I've actually unlocked this whole thing already, and we've already completed it, me and my co-op members, and you won't have this already, but you will still be able to access the collection upon collecting your first piece of rotten flesh. And as you can see at rotten flesh number 1, once you collect 50 rotten flesh, you get the zombie minion recipe. At rotten flesh level 2, you get a zombie pickaxe recipe, you also get the smite recipe, etc. And as you go along the chain of progression, you get more and more items that you can craft, so you can progress further along in Hypixel Skyblock. So essentially, that's just a quick breakdown of how collections work, being able to collect different items and level them up the more and more you collect them, so you can get cooler crafting recipes and you can do a lot more things in Hypixel Skyblock. So the next thing that I want to talk about is minions. Now, minions are such an important part of the game because they let you get a passive sort of income or passively generate lots of items, which does save you a lot of time when having to grind for them yourself because you've just got a minion that's running on your island 24/7, constantly collecting materials for you. So let's quickly open the collections once again here. If we just click on this button and then go to crafted minions, we should be able to open up this little menu here, which shows us all the minions in the game. So once again, I have unlocked all the minions in this game with the help of my island members, but some of these will be grayed out for you, some of them won't be, and you can just unlock these by crafting them along the collections. So let's take the cobblestone minion as an example. You can see that there's a cobblestone minion level 1 and all the way up to cobblestone minion tier 11. So if I just click on level 1, this is the recipe to make one. You can make a cobblestone minion, place it down on your island, and then it will just be passively generating cobblestone for you. Now for the purpose of this video, since at the moment I've only got tarantula minions currently active on the island, I'll be able to show you guys what tarantula minions do. But if I head over to this chamber, we've got a lot of tarantula minions just working out over here. We haven't emptied the minions yet, which is why that notification just popped up on the screen. Just ignore that for the time being, but essentially we've got all these tarantula minions placed side by side with minion storages as well, and since I've blocked off all other spawning platforms, they only spawn the tarantula spiders in here. But as you can see, what they will be doing is they'll be spawning mobs in here, they'll be killing the mobs. As you can see, there's all the loot flying out, and then they just collect that loot in their storages. If I just open it up right here, you can see this guy has a stack of iron ingots, some enchanted string, and a bunch of other items as well. Now minions also come with upgrade slots. So the first one is the minion skin slot. If you want to have a skin on your minion, you got the fuel slot to give it some fuel so it works quicker, or it doubles or triples the amount of materials it generates. You got the automated shipping section where you can put a hopper of some sort to collect some money. Instead of you having to empty the minions, it will just be selling those items for money instead. And then you got these last two upgrade slots. In this case, we have a super compactor and a diamond spreading, just to get more diamonds and to compact all the materials we get from the minions. So in a nutshell, that's how the minions work. Now you also have a certain amount of minion slots that allow you to place however many minions you can on your island. So on my island over here, we currently have, I believe it's 23 minion slots. If I just check that really quickly here on my information, it will tell me that I need to craft 44 more unique minions, which means either a brand new minion or a level up from a minion that we haven't unlocked before, in order to unlock my 24th minion slot. Because you can see there, we currently have 23, and the 24th one is one that we can unlock next. So Skyblock at the moment only has 24 minion slots currently in the game, and these are obviously acquired just by upgrading and leveling minions. And the more minion slots you have, the more minions you'll be allowed to place, and that's just going to let you collect more and more materials as you have more freedom with how you decide to do that. Okay, so we're back at the hub over here where we started. Now the next thing that I want to be covering in this video is pets. So if I just open my Skyblock menu once again and head over to the bone here, if I click on this button here, it'll open up my pet menu where you can sort of select and collect a lot of different pets that you have in the game. So as you can see, once again, I've collected quite a few pets over here, like the squid pet, the chicken pet, a dolphin, a skeleton, and many more pets. So I'm going to select my golem pet just over here, which is currently my favorite pet in the game and the one that I use the most. But as you can see, once you select it, you can see this little floating mob head that just sort of chills, and if you move around, it'll follow you around as well. And each pet comes with its own individual bonuses and stat boosts. So in this case, the golem pet, I believe, comes with a strength boost. So right there we got plus 31 strength and plus 93 health at level 62. So the higher you level it up, the more and more that increases to. And then you've got also some more perks like the last stand perk. Apparently I deal 18.6% more damage when I reach below 15% health. And I also ricochet 15.5% of my damage when an enemy decides to hit me. I'll do some of that damage back. And then in this case, my golem pet is holding a combat XP boost, which boosts the leveling of my pet as long as I'm grinding mobs and dealing damage to mobs in particular. So essentially, that is how pets work. There's a lot of pets in the game that you can collect that give you a bunch of different bonuses. There's also rarities to different pets, so you can get the common rarities. I've actually got some right here. This dolphin is currently common, and I believe this rock pet is an uncommon. You can see it changed to a green text. I do have an enderman pet who is a rare, which is why it's blue. My skeleton here is purple, so is my golem and a couple of others. And then I've got my pets such as my black cat here, or the chicken pet, or even this pig pet that I crafted, are legendary, and they come with the most perks usually. But keep in mind that the higher the rarity, the harder it is to level up your pets. So sometimes you're better off having it maybe one rarity lower just to level it up as much as you can. And if you choose to, you can actually level the rarity of your pet later on with something that I'm about to get into right now. So if you come over here to this area of the village, just over there is where spawn is. If you head all the way down this pathway over to this house here, you've got this sort of pet house, at least is what I like to call it. So you get greeted by B here, who does sell you 4 different B pets. You got the common, the rare, the epic, and the legendary. I'm not going to go into any details on how those work, so you can check those out for yourself. We've got Zog as well, who sells you pet items. Essentially, your pet can hold this item and it gets some kind of stat boost as long as it's holding it. And then we've got Cat over here. So Cat currently is taking care of my Jerry pet. Right now, my Jerry pet, as you can see, is a rare pet because the text is blue. And after 14 hours and 52 minutes, apparently, my Jerry pet will be epic, and I'll be able to have an epic Jerry pet as she's upgrading the rarity right now. And then if we head over here just behind us and up the stairs of this house, we also have George, the pet collector. And if you right click him and you decide to trade him a pet in this little menu here, and then you click on this button, he'll offer you some money for that pet, and you can trade that to him and just get a quick and easy bit of cash if you do have some spare pets that you don't really want to keep holding on to. So I believe that's everything that I have to cover about pets. Let's move on to the last thing of this video, and that's going to be Slayers. Alrighty, so we are outside of the bar right now. I believe it's the bar because the bartender does just live over here. This house is opposite to the pet house just over there, so if you walk in here, the bartender will either be at the bar ready to serve you, or if you haven't completed the quest yet, he'll be standing roughly under the sign here, and he'll tell you to go to the graveyard and fight some zombies. But we're not looking for the bartender right now. We want to go down these steps and talk to Maddox. So Maddox here, he's a very interesting NPC and actually gives you some very useful things to do. So if we just open up his menu right now, you can see we've got this zombie, this tarantula, and this Sven Slayer options. So once again, the texture pack does texture them for me, and it makes them look a little bit nicer. But if you don't have a texture pack, this should be a rotten flesh, I believe a string or a spider eye, and this will be a raw mutton. So if we just take the Revenant Horror Slayer, which is just the zombie slayers, if I click on this here, we will be opened up with even more options. So we've got Revenant Horror 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these are just the difficulty of the quests that you can pick. So you can see here it says beginner, strong, challenging, and then deadly. Essentially, when you start one of these quests, it will cost you a bit of money. So in this case, the Revenant Horror 4 will cost you 50,000 coins, but it will also reward you with 500 Zombie Slayer XP versus only 5 from the original Revenant Horror 1. So these do scale up in difficulty, get harder and harder to beat, but they give you more and more rewards, and they give you more and more XP depending on what level the Slayer you're doing is. So essentially, once you start a quest, you get told to kill a certain number of mobs. Once you kill all those mobs, the boss will spawn, and then once you beat the boss, you can come back to Maddox here, you can claim your reward, and then you can use those rewards later on in the game just to do whatever you like. So if we just take the Zombie Slayer once again as an example, and I go to boss leveling rewards, I can open up my progression chain where I've got the Zombie Slayer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm currently up to Zombie Slayer 6, where I get a permanent 4 HP, and I get some recipes there, alongside everything else that I've unlocked throughout my time playing Zombie Slayers. And this, of course, is really helpful for progression in Skyblock because you can unlock more and more really cool items to help you progress throughout the rest of the game to get better and better gear to fight harder and harder bosses, especially with the upcoming Dungeons update that'll be released fairly soon to this game. So that about sums up this entire video for you guys. I hope you guys did enjoy or find this informative in some way, and hopefully I did break down Skyblock to a pretty understandable level, so it made it a little bit less intimidating, or you sort of understood a couple more things that you may not have understood through the semi-tutorial that you get given at the start of the game. Now, of course, this is not a full guide. There are still so many things that Hypixel Skyblock has to offer. I only want to cover some very basic things that a lot of people may have some questions about, or a lot of people may not realize that are part of the early game, and you can get started on really early on to help progress throughout the mid-game and later stages as well. But overall, I'm still very happy with how this video came out, and hopefully, once again, it was very informative for you guys. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel, because I do plan on making more Skyblock videos in the future. And also, if you have any further questions, comments, or concerns about this video, I do stream live over on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you want to ask me some questions, that's going to be a very good place to do it, as we can have a one-on-one personal conversation, or you can ask some friendly people in the chat as well. They may be able to help you out there too. But that's going to be it for me today, guys, and as always, take care.